Hello and welcome to the Claret Blue podcast, sponsored by NordVPN. All the information that you need to get the best discount code available is in the description down below. I'm your host, Dan Rolinson, on my webcam because my camera is not available and it looks a bit weird. But here we are. I'm joined by John Townley, who is still tired from America. How's things, John?
Yeah, I'm fine. I keep having to stay up late for different things, which in my body is essentially saying, "Oh, so 3 a.m. is when you're supposed to sleep. Like, is that normal now?" So yeah, I actually got back on track a couple of days ago, and then last night when all the Ramsey stuff went off, yeah, slipped back into my old habits.
Unbelievable. Well, we're here today to talk about Jacob Ramsey. We're doing this live at 9:10 on Wednesday, the 13th of August, across Facebook and YouTube. So if you want to have your say on Ramsey and this deal to Newcastle pending as we record, but looks like it's heading that way, we'll read some of those comments out throughout. We're just going to kind of start this episode with this isn't about us. However, we did do an episode, 2 episodes, in fact, last week on Friday, I think it was, a Q&A, which was a live episode where we talked about Ramsey's future and what's going to happen. And in the space of about half an hour, it was confirmed that Villa had offered him a new deal. So we jumped back on again to talk about that. And that was, 3, 4, 5 days ago. Aston Villa offer a new deal for Ramsey. 5 days later, he's going to Newcastle. What happened there, John? And like I said, this isn't about us. This isn't a defence of we were right, we were wrong, whatever. It's things change. And we've said this all the way through the summer, to be fair. The transfer window moves quickly. Players move quickly. Things happen. Villa need to make a sale, or we would like to make a sale, or however you want to phrase it. We've said that all the way through as well. And the more things that change throughout the summer, that Kamara signs a new deal, Watkins looks like he's staying, Martinez looks like he's staying, the kind of options for sales were getting less and less, to the point that last week when we felt like, well, Ramsey surely signs a new contract if offered one, that points to Leon Bailey going, right? Whereas this changes things again now. So do you want to kind of just wrap up what we've known and what we've been talking about for the last couple of days?
Yeah, so
Let yawn out.
sorry, there might be a few. Yes, as we reported accurately a few days ago, Ramsey had been offered a new deal. It turns out, as David Owenson reported, that it was more than one. All we were kind of aware of was there was at least one contract offer that Villa had sent to Ramsey, and obviously this is in the midst of them trying to get deals done for quite a number of players at the moment. We can talk about Cash, Tielemans, McGinn. Are there any others, or have we finished that sort? Well, I haven't finished, but there's obviously 3 there. You had Kamara, you had Dean. Ramsey obviously falls into that bracket as well. And as we've been saying all summer, it's an interesting one for him because, and as we said in the previous video, you either give him the new contract or you sell him. Villa obviously wanted to give him the new contract. Why wouldn't you? But for reasons that I'm not aware of right now, Ramsey didn't commit his future to Villa, and that could be something as small as kind of promises over kind of involvement where Villa saw him in the next 2 years, or maybe it's wage. I don't know. That will kind of come out in the wash. I presume it's too early to say right now. And by the way, again, to caveat this, it's not a done deal yet. Villa do need to agree, or Newcastle do need to agree with Villa, the overall package, and then you can go into medicals and whatnot. So we're doing this as a kind of pretense of, okay, this is heading that way, hence the title, heading to Newcastle. So I lost my train of thought there. Villa, offered him a new deal that wasn't agreed on by Ramsey, and as we said in the video, a move to West Ham is something that didn't appeal to him. The Newcastle move, there's always been Newcastle interest, same as Tottenham as well. Like last year, Tottenham really wanted Ramsey. Villa could have sold for the PSR and kept Louise if they had sold Ramsey. That didn't happen. It's not something that Emery wanted. He wanted to give him another year. And as it turns out, here we are now, and 12 months down the line, are kind of in the same position where he could have been last year. But this is something that obviously would help Villa's PSR position. And as we've said all summer, a sale has to be made. It's going to be the same in 12 months as well, depending on what Villa spend. And again, we'll have to kind of polish up on that later down the line, kind of come back to it as such. But we know the position that Villa are in with PSR, the revenues need to increase much more. But just on Ramsey, we obviously did the video, didn't we, about... so he's got a new contract offer, which means Villa, they've kind of done their part. They want to keep the player. the Ramsey side, obviously, we never said, "Oh yeah, he's going to sign it. He wants to sign it." It was always for us. Well, we think he probably would because of the reasons we've laid out. Boyhood fan, he's getting minutes, and this is kind of a talking point in itself, I think, for the rest of this video. So yeah, if there was any kind of confusion over that video, it was okay. So he's been offered a new deal, which is factually correct, and then we think that he'd be signing it because he's.
Yeah.
Why would you not sign it? And again, the kind of feeling we were getting from the side of Ramsey was that he is settled and that he is happy at Villa. Yeah. But then a Newcastle move, maybe that's something that's just swayed his head. And if Newcastle hadn't come in for him like they have, and quite strongly too, like £40 million, I think is probably the highest price you get for Ramsey. So they're clearly showing quite a lot of confidence in the player. But if that wasn't there, I'd be shocked, as I said previously, if he had gone to a West Ham or if he had gone to another,
even a Forest
club. Like,
made more sense than West Ham, but even still, you know.
Exactly, yeah. I think the Newcastle move does, or as we know, it appeals to Ramsey. Tottenham maybe would have appealed as well, but obviously that's not something that they've looked at this summer. I mean, again, even Newcastle as of where are we? Wednesday, as of Tuesday morning. So as of Tuesday morning, that even that wasn't like a go ahead of straight away. So Newcastle have made their move. They've decided to make the move, and they've gone pretty firm with Villa. And an agreement is now close. And by the time this video is finished, maybe that agreement's already struck. We'll have to wait and see. But this is the transfer window. Things like
we're doing another episode in tomorrow that he's changed his mind or something.
Yeah, probably. No, I don't think we will be. But yeah, this is what happens in the transfer window, and the kind of beauty of podcasts that things change. The situation hasn't changed. It's just that you can obviously receive information, and then something new happens, shall we say?
Yeah, this isn't us. Yeah, I don't want to get defensive here, but this isn't us backtracking. It's not saying, "Oh, actually, we knew about Newcastle, but didn't want to say anything." That video was 25 minutes long last week, and it was. The fact is, Aston Villa have offered Ramsey a contract. That was 30 seconds. The remaining 24.5 minutes was our opinion on surely he'll sign it, and what does this mean for Bailey, and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And that's today, really. Newcastle want Ramsey, and will hopefully, for them and for Villa, agree on a price, because this isn't going to go away now. He goes. The rest of it is all our opinion. And just very quickly, on that video last week, let's have a little clip from that, shall we? We're taking this as new deal offered for Ramsey equals new deal signed by Ramsey. So any chance he's been offered one, but he doesn't sign it because he wants to leave.
Yeah, no, I went just to quickly out.
Like he wants game time somewhere else.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
Could you imagine? Indeed, John. Yeah.
That was in the context of West Ham, just saying.
No, but we said, like, is there a possibility? Yeah. And we laughed it off because surely, and this is where the rest of the video is now kind of opinion, this does surprise me a little bit, to be honest, that Ramsey wants to go. Now, lots of comments rolling in about the deal and is this good for us and the fee and all those kind of things, and I will read some of them shortly. But the kind of idea of like, oh, this is good for PSR. Well, yeah, to an extent. But this isn't that we want rid of him. Because Emery last year or the year before, whenever it was like, I'm keeping him at all costs kind of thing. And he's still absolute bags of potential. Started to show signs that he's kind of turned a corner with fitness. Like he featured in a lot of games last year. He's looked sharp in pre-season, etc., etc. Ramsey, I felt, was on course for a good season this year and probably starts off the left because that's our option at the moment. Now, whether this now means Rodgers starts off the left and we're going to do things differently elsewhere, maybe, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But Emery and the Europa League as a project is as good as Eddie Howe and the Champions League and a stab at winning a trophy or whatever. You support this club. You've been here a hell of a long time. We're offering you a deal. We kind of laughed it off that, well, surely he'll sign it because it felt like, well, yeah, of course you would. I'm quite surprised that he is going, to be perfectly honest. Is it a wage thing? Maybe. Is he going to get more minutes at Newcastle than he is at Villa? Maybe. I'm not even sure that's the case. Does he play left wing for Newcastle? Does he play as part of the midfield three? Like, do you know what I mean? I don't really quite see the fit. So if you've got a contract offer and it turns out to be more than one over a period of time and you don't want to sign it, well, okay, then you take all sentiment away from that Aston Villa fan, boyhood fan, Jacob Ramsey. You've got 2 years left. We're not going to get this money again. See you later. like that is as kind of cutthroat as it is. If you don't want to be here, this could have been Boubacar Kamara, right? You've got 2 years left. You don't want to be here. Okay, well, you're for sale then. So my kind of overarching thing with this is, and I've seen it in the comments, and this is probably not a kind of like only me has thought this, because I've seen a comment say the same thing. But if you rewind back to Old Trafford on the final day and said you'll get to August 13th and still the window isn't over, and the first team player that you sell is Jacob Ramsey, I think most of us would have gone, yeah, go on then, fair enough. If that means you keep Martinez, Watkins, Konsa, Torres, Anana, Kamara, Tielemans, players we want to keep, selling Ramsey isn't. I don't think it's going to hurt us that much, is what I'll say.
Yeah,
from a football perspective.
Yeah, to kind of take on your points, the last one I'll start with. I agree, and again, it'll be interesting to see whether £40 million in terms of pure profit is very good money. For a player whose contribution, we said this for a long time, and I've been pretty vocal about it myself. I love Ramsey as a player. I think he's got a lot more to give, but scoring 1 goal in the Premier League season isn't enough. You need more. Kid's got loads of talent, and we have seen it. But when £40 million is put down, that's an offer that Villa can't really.
I didn't think we were going to get that much for him. I thought it was more like 30.
Yeah. And again, to kind of go on your first line. So again, where Villa are, you can't let Ramsey go, especially a player like Ramsey, who has been inconsistent, I'd say, and hasn't found his best level again over the last 2 years for different reasons, no kind of fault of his own in terms of injuries. But if Villa were to allow him to take down another year of his contract, and we fast forward another 12 months and it's August 2026, and he has less than 1 year on his deal, his value would be much less than what it is now at £40 million. The season he's going to have in the next year with Villa, like hypothetical, was like last year, like, he's done well, but he's scored 1 goal. That's not a £40 million player with less than a year on his contract. So I think Villa will have done pretty well to get £40 million if that's where the agreement is struck. I was told 2 different things yesterday of, kind of agreement would be about £40 million. That's what's being discussed. And then Newcastle obviously want to drive it down slightly less, and they were offering 38. But £2 million difference these days will get, there'll be an agreement
on £2 million.
Yeah, exactly. But I just, again, put it this way, when you add it together, this is all. Yeah, you kind of go through the process of, well, Villa they want him to sign the new deal. He hasn't done that. And now we're left in a situation where, I don't want to kind of fixate too much on, okay, well, Ramsey hasn't signed these contracts and then just kind of jump to any conclusions. I don't know the information about why he hasn't committed his future, because it could be, again, as I said earlier, a variety of things. So I'm not going to go into that territory. However, I am surprised at the same time that he's chosen to move elsewhere. Again, for Villa, as we've said also, sales will need to be made. They need to generate funds. Obviously, for UEFA's squad cost ratio rules, this isn't a deal that's going to be particularly beneficial in terms of wages.
Massive money, is it?
No, because he signed his deal. Last deal was, I think it was about a month after he turned 20, back in 2022, was it? So the money he's on is not going to be comparable to a lot of players in the Villa team who are obviously higher earners. But PSR-wise, it's a very nice deal because, like Gesson, for example, if you can amortise that over the length of his contract, that's not touching the £40 million of pure profit, is it? So
yeah. This should unlock Villa to spend some money now, right?
Yeah, if they choose to. And again, we don't know exactly their position on PSR. They obviously sold the women's team, sell Ramsey, so that's quite a lot of pure profit right there. But you look at in the last 12 months, when Ramsey leaves, if Ramsey leaves and it's 40 million, that's about £75 million of negative net spend. So Villa have been kind of playing with these rules and at the same time managed to balance it all out. And if kind of going on your last point, if they have to sell a player who's only scored 1 goal last season and kind of contributed in terms of other ways, and Emery loves his profile, but again, for £40 million, I think
like
it's
a no-brainer to me.
I think it's a good
If
deal.
you've got a contract there and you're not going to sign it, you're for sale then, mate.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that for me.
And again, I'm a little bit surprised in Ramsey being willing to go because Anthony Gordon plays on the left for Newcastle. That's a shoe-in. And then, as you say, the midfield.
He might play in the middle, but he won't start.
Exactly.
So is it a wages thing? Is it a Champions League thing?
I don't know. And again, that's why I'm not going to kind of speculate about, because we're not sure. And Villa's contract offers may have been, quite a lot less than what Newcastle were willing. And
let's extend that hypothetical then. Let's say he's on 70, 80 now from his deal 4 years ago, maybe something like that. Maybe not even that, to be honest. Let's say we're offering him 100. If he's thinking, well, then Donker's on 90 odd. Like, what do you mean? I'm only getting 100, and Newcastle say is 200. Is that a massive factor where you just go, oh, yeah, all right then, go on then?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, I'm not going to. I don't really want to sorry to kind of ignore your question.
No, I'm obviously completely guessing, but you know what I mean? Yeah. That's the theory, right? Why leave Villa? Why leave Emery?
Well, that's it. That's the bit I can't puzzle together. Like, we have the facts and information that we brought to you the other day of contract offer comes out by one stint. There's been more than one in the last few months or whatever it may be. So the natural kind of progression from there is surely, okay, well, Ramsey will commit his future here. Whether there's a bit of a haggling on a wage or a commitment to something, I don't know. Where I'm kind of leading this to is maybe he just wants a fresh start and he doesn't feel like
maybe
he can contribute what he wants. So he doesn't feel in the right space at Villa for whatever reason. Again, I genuinely don't know. But maybe he just thinks he needs a fresh start. And again, for Villa, they don't want to sell Jacob Ramsey, but firstly, the money's good, and secondly, they can't allow him to go into his last year of the contract, especially because of the performances he's been having. Like, it's not going to be £40 million next year, whether he plays well or not, I think, to be honest. And then as well, you have the point about PSR and Villa know they need to make a sale, and as we said on that video as well. Okay, so if Ramsey signs his new deal, where do we go from here? Because we know that Villa don't want to be selling Watkins, Rodgers, Konsa, and their key players, Kamara. They want Tielemans on a new deal. Where is this money going to be made? And again, at the start of the window, you looked at Martinez, and he was open for a new challenge. And kind of, I think there is an acceptance among the Villa team in places that, okay, we need to make money at some point. How long is my Villa career going to be? And I think Martinez probably thought of himself as maybe I could be the sacrifice, right? I didn't expect that from Ramsey's side, though. I just presumed, Villa will sort their house out with their contracts. Okay, so they want to give him a new deal. All right, so that would surely mean he signs because, again, Boyhood fan, he's getting minutes. I think he would still improve under Emery, but again, for the reason why I'm not sure.
This is why it's not really a PSR thing. There's some Newcastle fans in the comments, to be fair, and they're very what's the word, like being nice about it. Kind of PSR is screwing us all over, that kind of stuff. If we're offering them a new deal, it's not we have to sell him for PSR because we're willing to keep him. And by offering him a new deal over several months, we want to keep him. Somebody just said there, Sky Sports, saying that Villa don't want to sell. Oh yeah, they don't want to sell. They've offered him a new contract. They want to keep him. So this isn't Villa have got a 40 million hole to plug. We have to sell Jacob Ramsey. We want to keep him, but Newcastle want to buy him. And Ramsey doesn't want to sign a contract. So there's only one outcome there. You can't keep him. So is that to do with the rules in a roundabout way? Yeah, maybe. But if you've got a player who doesn't want to be here, a la Isak at Newcastle, you're kind of powerless really as the club. You can't hold players there against their will. What's Ramsey going to do then? Down tools for 6 months, not really feature much, and go for 10 million next year when he's got a year left. All right, well, that's great business, Villa, isn't it? Well done, Monchi and co. You get 40 million for him, which is a fee I didn't think we'd get. It gets his wages off the books that aren't massive. But if that allows Villa to move in the market and kind of tweak their squad with maybe Asensio comes in on loan, a centre-back and a left winger or something, and that makes Villa better, and that left winger, and I know it's not as simplistic as this, but if that left winger or Asensio scores more than one Premier League goal next year and gets a couple of assists, have we not just replaced Ramsey and saved some money there by doing so anyway? Like, the theory of that makes sense. So I'm not against it, to be honest. I'm really not. And I don't know whether I'm just trying to kind of go too far the other way. We've got our season preview part 2 coming out literally after this finishes, so stay around for that later. But I tweeted a clip of it last night about the Grealish to Everton thing. Obviously now that's been confirmed. You asked us on Monday, how do we feel about that? And I was very like, I don't care. Like, I've taken the emotion away from it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already kind of doing that with Ramsey as well. And I don't know whether that is going to be what most people feel like. It's a homegrown player. It's a Villa fan. This shouldn't be the way the rules work. You've offered him a contract and he's not taking it. So see you later, mate. If you don't want to be here, why am I getting emotional about letting you go? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's very cutthroat, but that's football. If you don't want to be at my football club and you're a Villa fan, see you later then.
Yeah, I think that's the way that fans will look at it. Again, for Villa, I think that they'd probably.
I'm not going to be booing him, by the way, or anything like that. There's no bad taste towards it, but I'm not like, oh no, this is a real kick in the gonads for pure football, and you should have a member of should have a member of your fan base amongst the ranks. Well, if you don't want to be here, mate, then sound.
No, I get that. I think Villa would have probably thought they can get him on a new deal, maybe once, don't know, the window had ended or something, and Ramsey would think, well, okay, I didn't get a move because I wasn't interested in West Ham. I didn't want to go to this club, and this club that I might have been interested in didn't come for me, i.e. Newcastle. But they have, and they've paid or willing to pay good money. So, yeah, again, progress has been made on that, and we're now at a point where that just needs to be formalised, and Ramsey would have to do his formalities as well, do his medical, whatnot. So, yeah, unless anything kind of unforeseen happens from here, he would become a Newcastle player. And again, Villa, I just think they're probably willing to do it at this stage, because if this has been going on for some time, again, that's not my information. It's been going on for some time. David Ornstein, obviously very reliable, so I trust that. But again, the only information we had was there's a contract offer, and that it's at least one. So for Villa, again, if, as you say there, Dan, like if he's unwilling and this money comes in, I don't think anyone can. In fact, I haven't really seen many. Or why are we accepting this money? Why is this happening? I haven't seen much of that, to be honest. I think we would have if it was kind of a more, I don't know, controversial price. I don't know, 30 million or something. And even then, £30 million of pure profit isn't so bad for a player who would be entering the final year of his deal next summer. So, yeah, I just think it's a shame that if we are going to lose Ramsey, I don't know. It's never nice to lose your boyhood fan / local lad, and I think it does count for a lot. And as I said the other day, like even small things, like if we had to play Blues in the next few years or year, whatever it may be, I'd want Ramsey in my team. So it's going to be a shame to see him playing for the club. But at the same time, as you say, would anybody decline this deal with the information that he, put it this way, he didn't jump at the chance to sign a new contract? Maybe the contract would have been sorted in a few weeks and he would have signed for 5 years. We know what 5 years contract means in football. It just protects your value, really. But yeah, so that's what I'm not going to kind of criticize Ramsey for not signing the deal, because firstly, we don't know what that looked like, what was said, what the money was compared to other players, and all of that different stuff. And that will come out again. So I'll kind of make my mind up on that when we have the information to do that. But then secondly, kind of what I've mentioned there as well. The second point that I raised that I can't remember because I'm bloody tired. Sorry. I forgot. God.
Don't worry about it. I'm not going to get kind of too dewy-eyed about the potential of having a homegrown lad in the team when we play Birmingham. Maybe Jacob Ramsey's replacement scores a hat-trick and we win the game. So it's complete hypotheticals that I don't care about.
It's just more football. you want that representation, don't you?
Of course, I get it. But if this allows us to make a better squad and Villa finish third and win the Europa League, sounds like farewell, Jacob Ramsey. I'm really not going to get emotional over it. Right, I want to read a few comments out. Let's do some Newcastle fans all as one here. David says, I'm a Newcastle fan. PSR is screwing all of us, you with Ramsey and us with Elliott. As a Newcastle fan, this has to be PSR related, says Northern Golfer, but to sell to a rival is puzzling. We'll come back to that in a sec. Dino Music says, I admire Villa as a football club and your fan base. I'm glad it's pure profit for you guys when PSR keeps us underdogs back. and not a Villa fan, I don't think, but not a Newcastle fan, Bloom says, I'd be disappointed if he goes, but rather Newcastle than the others linked. Proper club, 40 million is a chunk of money. They get a good player, we get the cash, and we can both keep pushing the media's Big Six agenda, which I quite like, to be honest. Have you got any kind of tinge of frustration or sadness or whatever that we're helping a rival here? Like we expect Villa and Newcastle to be up and around the European places. Is this making them stronger, or is Bloom's argument there also correct that, well, this 40 million might make us stronger?
I think when the money is good enough, I think you can stomach that. And
yeah.
I think as well, and this isn't me putting the player down because I like Ramsey, but if Villa thought that he would impact a rival to the point where we can't sell him to them, then we wouldn't do it. So kind of add 2 and 2 together. Villa clearly don't think it's going to, revolutionise the Newcastle team. So, we'll just sell. It's kind of difficult to say, really, but we'll just sell Watkins, I guess, to Newcastle. Never, because that would be instantly improving a rival, and he will score goals to put them in a position where they could finish above Villa. Ramsey's a different case. I think he'll be a good squad player for Newcastle, and I do think that one day he can play for England, but yeah, I just think maybe he needs a new start, and I think that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to settle on, really, to kind of get my head around the situation. Again, I just think if the contract offer is there, why is that not being signed? Why is there no kind of agreement there? Maybe it's partially as well Ramsey knowing, as I said earlier, that Villa need to make a certain amount of money. It's going to have to be sacrificed somewhere. I'm happy to start this new chapter in Newcastle because I want to work under Eddie Howe as well. Like you and I, a very good coach. And it's a club who, like Villa, are upwardly mobile still. They're going to offer me a good wage. Like, if you add those things together, it makes sense. Just not that, for me, would still not override playing for your boyhood club and whatnot.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not going to be critical because I don't know the situation. But yeah, just as a side point, obviously homegrown player, so Europa League squad. Currently, we don't have any homegrown players in that quota, unless, of course, you have. Well, actually, I don't know if some of our academy players would even count because I need to polish up on the rules. So,
not being here long enough.
Yeah, or signed from another academy. I can't quite remember the rule. Something I'll have to look into. But anyway, if you're talking about like George Hemmings or something,
yeah,
it's an 18-year-old, and I know he's a very good 18-year-old. But we're talking Ramsey, fully fledged, like Premier League player with 100 and plus Premier League appearances. So at the moment we don't have. We're not taking up any of 4 slots available for that club trained quota. Last year we had Ramsey and Philogene. Then it was just Ramsey. I don't think Bogard counts either. I think he's too young still by like a few days. I think he's born like early January. So anyway, that's just a side point.
We'll deal with all that another time.
Yeah.
JJ says 40 million. JJ, 40 million is a good business for a sub. I think there is a little bit of that he's not. If you put Villa's best 11 together when everything's fit and firing, does he start? I think he possibly would have started at the weekend.
I think
will he start at the weekend for the other club now? Who knows? Hopefully not, I guess. But I think Ramsey left, Rogers middle, and then Marlon, Gesson or McGinn on the right probably is our best options at the moment. But if not, it's Rogers on the left or it's McGinn on the left, and you get on with it.
I think Ramsey would start in our best 11, to be honest. I'm not saying you would next season, but I think if you played a game, I don't know, tomorrow, and I mean, it's completely different now because of what's happening, but you know what I'm trying to say. I think he would feature in Emery's 11. But again, that doesn't mean that you can't sell him for 40 mil. I'd be interested to see what sort of profile we look at now to compensate for that. Obviously, essentially has been Villa's thoughts all summer, and a deal for Fenerbahce obviously didn't work out in the end. Whether that still happens, let's wait and see. But clearly, Villa are still looking at him. We obviously said in the previous video, kind of going down different territory. Sorry, Dan, but we said in the previous video, didn't we, that we'd be maybe that's one better left in the past. But if you say, okay, we say you sell Ramsey, but then you bring in Asensio and another player who could again, increase your output, or whatever it may be, increase the performance of the team. Getting 2 players for the price of 1 would be something that I would like. It just depends what that player is, how those deals look, what wages Asensio on as well, because it's going to be obviously much more than what Ramsey was. So there's a few kind of decisions that would need to be made in terms of replacing Ramsey if he does complete the move.
Yeah, there's a comment there, literally just from the Duft Meister says, sorry I'm late to the show. Unless I'm being stupid, surely replacing Ramsey's salary with Asensio's salary is worse for our salary cost ratio.
I mean, sorry, mate, I was reading a message. What was that? Sorry.
Ramsey's wage is less than Asensio's, so surely that's bad. Bringing Asensio, he's going to be on more than Ramsey's. How does that work?
Yeah. Well, again, we don't know exactly what Villa's wage bill is. Do they have flexibility to do that? Would it essentially take a wage cut that was a wage cut, not just a trim off the side? Yeah, and I think it'd have to be perfectly honest with you. So again, that's what Villa are looking at. I think if SCR wasn't a thing that Villa had to really comply with, essentially would probably be here already, to be honest. It's a player that obviously we know Emery loves. We can kind of go into that later down the line. But yeah, just to kind of summarise, I just think it's a bit of a shame.
Don't summarise, we've got some comments yet.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm not trying to go either. I can stay here for longer. I don't know. Sorry, by the way, for people. I've had how much sleep. I don't think my performance on this podcast has been particularly good, and I kind of keep going around in the same sort of circles. But I'm just trying to get my head around the situation still a little bit. So apologies for that. It's almost not. It's not a therapy session because I don't.
No, but this has happened. But we're talking through our opinions, right? That's always been the show.
I think if we did this in a day or two, I think I'd be much more clear and clinical in my decision on what does this mean and why is it happening? Again, that's information you need to find out, right? So this is all pretty raw. I will the information of why he's going to Newcastle. That's the mystery for me. Just why? What is it? Again, if it was as simple as because Villa want to sell and that they're not going to offer the new contract, okay, that obviously makes sense. But that's not the case. We have the clues.
It's Champions League or wages.
Villa did or want to give him that new deal and have expressed the desire to do so. Whether it's literally a formal thing of like, here's the contract, mate. Here's the piece of paper, dotted line, sign it, and he goes, no, I want to get my lunch or whatever. I'll do it later, and didn't. Like, is it that, or is it more of an informal contract offer? Either way, it's a contract offer, and there was apparently multiple of them, and they weren't signed. So yeah, just why would you then feel the need to go to Newcastle? That's kind of my thinking. Like, because as we go through it, Gordon's there. They've got a stacked midfield, one of the best in the Premier League, right? I don't know. It just puzzles me a little bit, but yeah.
Okay, let me rattle off some comments then while you compose your thoughts for a minute or two. Matthew says he's worth more than 40 million. Are we getting Harvey Barnes on top of this money? I mean, I'm not suggesting there's anything in this, by the way, but I won't be surprised if we did look at can we do some Newcastle business.
I was told pretty early in the window when there was a lot of chatter about Ramsey and Barnes swap deal that Barnes wasn't someone that Villa were looking at then. Whether that's changed or does change, again, transfer window, things definitely change.
Look forward to the Harvey Barnes video tomorrow.
Yeah. But just to tell you, last time that I heard about it, which was in June, it was no, that's not something that we're looking at. So again, things can change, but that wasn't on the radar in June. If it was the other way and it was, Villa are interested in Barnes, maybe that is something that would happen, but it wasn't that. It was not someone that they were looking at then.
Yeah. Rusty Bear says, I've never heard John so subdued. Speaks volumes. Are you subdued about the transfer or are you just tired? I think you're tired.
You know what? And this doesn't usually happen, but I'm struggling to think of my next point when I talk. Guys, sorry. The lack of sleep is seriously.
This US stuff's really caused you problems.
It's really killed me. I'm sure there'll be a lot of negativity in there as well, but it's all. Yeah, it's all.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I am off today, but I'm also going to be doing stuff now. The Ramsey bits happening. This is the thing, but yeah. sorry for being subdued.
No, it's fine. Don't be silly.
And again, I think it's because it's a live. We're trying to piece together things, and I'm not trying to make the mistake of saying or inferring something that isn't the case, especially when it's quite delicate of player not signing deal but going somewhere else. We need to know the why. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, okay, fine. A couple more. Daniel says, such a shame. I really do think the best is yet to come from him. I'd rather keep him than the 40 million. Villa do. They offered him a contract, didn't sign it. On we go. Ben says, not very happy personally. I feel like he was on for a big season. I agree. I think that he was on for good things potentially. Whether he can go and do those good things for Newcastle is obviously a completely different thing. For Villa's sake, I don't want him to, because Newcastle are going to be competing with Villa, I think, for those areas. You all right, John?
Swore there. Sorry. Oh, it's hardness again. I've made a. I put something out and then I just made an error on it. Oh.
You deal with yourself, mate. Let me just crack on with these. Keep language to yourself, please.
Yeah, sorry.
Philly says, if we had to lose any of our bigger players, I'd have picked Ramsey. I wish him well. Yeah, sound. I agree. Shane says, I think he's fallen on the sword for us. Gutted. I don't buy that, to be honest. I don't believe that. If you've got a contract offer on the table, Villa want to keep you and can afford to keep you. If you don't sign it, that's not him saying, as far as we know, I'm going to be the sacrifice, guys. I'll help your transfer budget for the season. If you are being offered a contract, you are wanted. If you don't want to sign it, you don't want
it.
Yeah. Okay. You keep working, John.
Sorry, sorry, mate. I've had to quickly change it. Literally like 2 minutes. This is a live. Sorry.
Okay, fine. Ben says, I'm not too upset with the deal, to be honest. And as you boys like to talk about crisps, Ramsey will be ready salted. Does a job, but it's always better to choose from.
Which, I'm taking offence to that.
I quite like. Of course, you like ready salted. Chris says, JJ obviously got a better offer from Newcastle, got his head turned, and at that point, the club's hands are tied. He has to go. Yeah, fine. Josh says, I saw John in the press area at Villa Roma. It was like seeing a celebrity, as I only listen whilst driving the country for work.
I'm not that important at all.
Right, one final thing to end on then, and because we could go all day here. We've done 37 minutes. What it means is a knock-on effect for others. Does this now mean Rodgers on the left? Where does Gesson play? Blah, blah, blah. Does this mean Bailey now stays, etc.? 2 comments. From Darren, you're assuming the 40 million is reinvested in the team. We won't be spending anything other than bringing Asensio in. So it's not good for us to assume, but good for Darren to assume.
There's no just quickly on that. That would be that would make sense, because I mean, whether the view is correct or not, but in terms of squad depth, that wouldn't add up. We'd definitely be short.
Yeah. Dan's Lamb says, Dan / John, what are the chances now that Villa go out and spend 30 to 40 million on 2 or 3 players? Surely the money is there now. I think this is something that will be speculated about. I guess that this allows us to spend, but still not at silly amounts. No,
because it's pure profit and you can amortize transfer fees. Then this would allow Villa to spend more freely, definitely more freely than what they have been. But at the same time, they've obviously bought Gesson already. And again, amortized, it's not a big
it's like
amount
6
of
million
money
a year or something.
Yeah, but if you look at the kind of trend that Villa have been working in the last few windows, we've usually either broken even or give or take, or just made more money than what we've spent. So, I'd be surprised if Villa now spend big. The message at the start of the window was there'll be no expensive signings. Don't foresee that changing necessarily unless absolutely the right player comes up. And again, Villa think that, okay, well, in a year we can do this to the team. So I'm not going to kind of deny or confirm, but they have more flexibility now. So they still need to act smartly. I think that's the key thing. I think any player that comes into the club, on the whole, there needs to be a player who can improve under Emery and as an asset increases in value. Obviously, if you bring in Asensio, that wouldn't be the case, but there'd be very different reasons why you'd recruit him.
Yeah. So, for example, Villa have 40 million pure profit in the books now. If they sign somebody for, and this maths isn't going to work for your brain, if they sign somebody for 30, and that's a 5-year contract, that's 6 million per year. So in theory, you could do that a few times, 6 million, 6 million, 6 million, before you hit that 40 million. However, if you go and spend 90 million now, you are going to be in a hole again. You've still got to be careful, right?
Yeah. And if we kind of go back to the thing that we were saying at the start of the summer, SCR is always going to be the main issue at play for Villa. So you can't all of a sudden add 4 new wages to the team without also reducing the squad. So yeah, they're not in a position now, Villa, where they can just bring in a right back, a centre back, a midfielder, and a winger, and not feel a consequence for that either. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they put this money, but I think it's pretty obvious now. We definitely need a left-sided player to replace Ramsey, like for like. Whether Gesson is that player, and then you buy a right winger, or you buy, it would have to be a right winger. For me, you still need something in that front line. It just depends where exactly you're going to put certain players. But the versatility, I think, is really, really important because you've got McGinn, Gesson, Rodgers,
Haaland.
Yeah. I was just thinking mainly the players who can play across all 3. Marlon could essentially do that, but you wouldn't rely on him to play on the left, I don't think.
No.
We'll see kind of where they go from here, but it's exciting, I guess. They should be bringing in an attacker again for depth purposes, so we'll see where they go with it.
Yeah. Okay, we'll wrap up there. Thanks, John, for doing that. That was pretty much like you waking up at 4 a.m. and doing a podcast. So, fair play for doing it. Thanks, everyone who tuned in live, including the Newcastle fans that were nice in the comments. Nice to see over 500 people watching at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday is really good. So thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this on catch up, then you can get involved in the YouTube comments down below. Or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you've got reviews on Apple and you've got Spotify comments as well. So you can get involved in the conversation as well. Very quickly, second part of our big fat season preview is out today. For audio listeners, it's already out. It was out at 6 a.m. this morning or something daft. The video version will go live as soon as this video finishes. So 10 a.m.-ish Wednesday morning. So if you want to hang around on YouTube for another half an hour, we've got a prediction show, basically. Who's going to be top scorer, player of the year, etc. Thank God none of us said Ramsey for any of those big predictions, although he will probably get a mention in the episode somewhere. So, take that as read. It was filmed on Monday. I'm going to play you a very quick clip and then wrap up.
Listen, I've come back refreshed and ignorant.
Good. As opposed to just ignorant before.
Yeah. So I'm going to say 5th.
Okay.
I don't really believe it as I'm saying it because of what I'm predicting elsewhere.
I've also got Tottenham.
That season preview it's a good episode. It will be out straight away as soon as this is finished. So if you want to go and catch that, please do. Right, John, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for watching along or listening, and we'll see you again for the season preview very shortly and the Newcastle preview on Friday. Bye-bye.